Hello, let's talk immigration. Okay, got 4 participants. That's good. I have started the live in the Morrison Arena channel, but there's also a group I'm supposed to start it in. I'm learning how to do the internet today. Thank you for your patience. Oh, it's working, I'm told. So that's great. First thing I want to talk about today is David Beer is works for a think tank called the Cato Institute, and he shared a graphic that I thought was awesome. A lot of times when people are talking about immigration, they say, well, why can't you just get in line and come the legal way? Well, David has made a little flow chart on what that line looks at like and what obstacles you have before you can come the legal way. Um, and while these obstacles seem like, well, there's not that many, some of them, like for diversity visa, uh, include like become a selectee. Like there's 1 in 100 chance that that would happen or less. So it's pretty crazy that people say come the legal way, and there's all these obstacles to come the legal way. The majority of the billions of people on this planet do not have a lawful path to immigrate to the United States. And that's kind of what he's getting across with this graphic. Um, I don't have any updates today. So let me just jump into question and answer, and we'll have a short show. If you have any questions, you can throw them on YouTube or Facebook, or I think the Telegram channel has a little group where you could throw them, and I'll get to them in order. Okay. So Sam says, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Sam. Sam says we can't hear you. I think you can hear me now, but I'm sorry. I'm not good with things. Verishon says, good afternoon. What's the latest news? The latest news, you're a little vague there. I don't know what you want news about. President Trump was indicted for like 37 felonies and will probably go to prison. That's the latest news. It's kind of good news. Sam kind of asked, what's the latest on Naveed versus Blinken or anything about Islamabad embassy? Okay, so the Naveed versus Blinken lawsuit is one where we filed a motion for preliminary injunction, and the judge granted the government's opposition. He denied the motion for preliminary injunction. Government filed a motion to dismiss. We opposed the motion to dismiss. Government filed a reply. There's been some other supplemental filing since then, and we are waiting for the judge to issue an order on the government's motion to dismiss. There's basically 3 important legal challenges in the Naveed case related to policies that are implemented at U.S. Embassy Islamabad. So that's what's going on with the Naveed case. About half the plaintiffs still don't have a visa interview, so I do not call that a success at this point, right? My other law firm is filing another lawsuit. I think the deadline is tomorrow to participate in that. but I can't talk about that here. I will say that I think the future for interviews at U.S. Embassy Islamabad is not very promising. And if there's any way at all to get yourself out of Pakistan and into another country with a U.S. Embassy and establish some residence there and say, I'm physically here. I know it's hard to do that, especially on faith, but I think you would improve your chances at being interviewed sooner. Okay. James says, good evening. Good evening where you are, James. Valbana says F4, which is a visa category, but it's not a question. I'm not sure what your question is, Valbana. James, God bless. DV 2021, good luck. Okay. Alex says save 2020. Well, it's up to the appeals court now. So the Biden administration appealed the Gomez order, so we're waiting on the outcome of the appeal. Okay. Alex says, more Signorina, no correct DV 2020. I don't quite understand your question. Save DV 2020. Yes, I support you, and I've done everything possible to support you with saving DV 2020. But right now it's in the hands of the appeals court. Okay, we've got a question from YouTube. Hello, sir. Please update F4 category Islamabad, Pakistan. My priority date is 2006 and DQ is April 2020. I am waiting for interview. Well, we are going on a trip. And where we are going on a trip to is the visa bulletin. Did you all know that we could do field trips in Let's Talk Immigration Live? Yes, we can. We are going to a website called Visa Bulletin that the State Department hosts, and we're looking at the most recent upcoming bulletin for July, and we're looking for F4 category, brother and sister of adult U.S. citizens. And what we're seeing is he's Pakistan. So there's a different date depending on whether or not you're in China, India, Mexico, or Philippines, chargeable, or all other categories. Well, he's all other category, all other areas because he's Pakistan. F4, Pakistan. The priority date is April 22nd, 2007. So they're working on issuing visas to F4s with priority dates before that date. So priority date 2006, that is current in the visa bulletin in chart A. So the visa bulletin is no longer an obstacle for this case, which means the obstacle is the immigrant visa backlog at U.S. Embassy Islamabad. That is a sizable backlog. Give me just a second. Maybe I can find it. Maybe not. We'll see. Does everybody else have a folder called screenshots on their desktop that has thousands of images? Is that just me? Well, shoot. Can't find what I'm looking for. So I'll go ahead and show you this. As of June 30th, 2022, which was almost a year ago, you had family preference categories, there were 11,667 people that were DQ. Okay. A lot of them were DQ in 2020, like the person who's asking this question. Some in 2021, some in 2022. Some of those have moved over to immediate relatives because they are F2A categories and the petitioner has naturalized. So, warning, don't do that if you have children, unless you talk to an immigration attorney first, because it impacts the paths for the children. So, anyway, Islamabad is not a great place to be in the F4 category. It's maybe the worst embassy in the world to be in the F4 category. So if there's any way, as an F4 applicant, you can relocate yourself outside of Pakistan, either through a work visa, a student visa. You can try a tourist visa, but I don't think that always works. It's what I strongly recommend. Let's say that you are a remote worker. You work from home, like I do. I work from home. And you have a good job. Well, the country of Spain gives what's called remote worker visas. Probably cost you $3,000 or $4,000 for the process itself. And then I have an attorney I can refer you there. And then you have to pay for the travel and an Airbnb, a place to stay. But if you're physically located with a residence visa in another country, you can pop into their embassy that doesn't have a backlog and be issued a visa and leave this nightmare behind. Okay. So I think a lot of the people in the visa backlog in Pakistan really in Islamabad really need to be creative about, there's 200 countries on planet Earth. Find a third country to go to as a stepping stone to get to the United States. Because the U.S. Embassy in Islamabad, it's not it. It's not our favorite embassy, right? Okay. Sam says, are you doing another lawsuit like that with Islamabad? I will refer you to my other law firm. This law firm is not at this time. Sam says it's challenging to get his wife residence for another country. It is challenging, but it is less challenging than to get her an interview at Islamabad. Okay. DV 2020. Also, no, it's okay. DV 2020 is not a question. DV 2021, also not a question. Sorry, I ate a piece of ice. Most selectees from DV 2021, your journey is over. The only ones whose journey is not over is if you are a good luck or go plaintiff, or you're waiting for an interview from one of the Ray embassies. And I don't see any of that information here. I just see DV 2021. Okay, for good luck DV 2021, what is the maximum time the court has taken on an appeal other than good luck? I don't know. I think someone went and researched it and said 10 years, but I don't even know if that's true. I also don't think it's going to be the maximum amount of time. I think speculating about how long it's going to take is not productive because we just don't know. Accepting that we don't know is the way to go. Most lawyers have said the appeals decision will be delivered in June. Well, it's one of those things where go talk to them when they're wrong. Okay, I don't give information that I don't have any way to support. If a country is sanctioned by the United States, would the embassy stop processing visas altogether? Usually the U.S. pulls out its embassy and consulate services before they get to the place of sanctions. For instance, there's no consular services in Moscow where there's sanctions in Russia. There's sanctions against Iran. There's no U.S. embassy in Iran. So I think sanctions When sanctions happen, embassy's already gone. Like the consular officers, they've already got on a plane and left. So yes, they do stop processing visas, but that actually happens before sanctions usually. Okay. Why all the obstacles in front of our dream of immigration to America, which stopped since the period of the coronavirus? Well, Eduardo, great question. Let me be very clear about something. There were obstacles in front of dreams to immigrate to America before the coronavirus. The coronavirus was used as an excuse for a period of time, 2020, early 2021, to throttle immigration in ways that the Trump administration had planned to do anyway. It was just convenient for them to blame COVID. So what I would say is you say why? The reason is the U.S. is not, you say it's your dream of immigrating here. Let me just be really clear. It's not a perfect country. There are many bad ideas held by many people that live in the United States, and sometimes those ideas prevail politically. And right now, immigration to the United States is not the focus of the Biden administration, not the focus of Congress, the American people on the radar. It's not the number one issue that people are worried about. So if you want to know the real reason, it's because it's not a priority of the American people right now, but it's also not a priority of their elected leaders, who are fools in many ways. Okay. More immigration to the United States would solve so many of our problems, Okay. Sim says, my wife won lottery 2021 and we are registered in the Good Luck case. Hello, Sim, Good Luck Collective. We are currently in France seeking asylum. Is there any hope that we will go to America from France? Sim, yes, your good luck journey is not over. I'm curious where you were on September 30th, 2021, because you may be eligible also for a Ray visa if we win that appeal. If you were waiting for an interview from Paris in September 2021. If not, then no. So here's the question. Where is your case at now? According to the State Department, they have deployed some of the reserved visas to embassies already, but the embassies can't see them because they're like frozen. They have to do some software code after we win the appeal and win summary judgment. I don't think that those include the good luck cases, though. There's some ambiguity over that. We don't know. But here's the challenge. Let's say we beat the appeal and then we win summary judgment. We need to know where the good luck cases are. Because if you're assigned to another U.S. embassy, that could be a challenge for you, because we don't know how much time there will be to actually get a case transferred, if they even do that. We don't know that they will do that. But then the second thing is, there's only a finite number of reserved visas that will disappear quickly depending on the pace of issuance. And there are some embassies, U.S. embassies, that do DVs that know how to do high volume very quickly. Kathmandu, Casablanca. These are embassies that will churn out 1,000 DVs in a month if they need to, right? So don't have too much comfort in the fact that there are 6,914 visas reserved for good luck plaintiffs, because that could be depleted in a month or two if the State Department actually decides, hey, we're going to issue visas quickly. So I think sometimes people who have relocated from the country where their interview was originally could be at a disadvantage for that reason. But you could also be at an advantage for that reason, because you may be relocated to a country that's more likely to issue visas. Really, you just have to wait and see. You have to wait and see. Sim says he's Sudanese. So you are definitely in a better position in France than you would be if you were in Sudan. There will not be interviews at Khartoum for any visas. Okay, immigrant visas, non-immigrant visas, DV 2023, DV 2024. Good luck, reserve visas, Gomez, good. Khartoum is closed. They took the flag down. They burned everybody's documents who was in administrative processing. Khartoum is over, so it's really good that you're in France. A says crazy system. I agree. Narayan says, what about DV 2021? I need more specific questions. The journeys for most DV 2021 selectees are over unless you are a good luck go plaintiff or you were waiting for an interview from an embassy that was noted in the Ray versus Biden order. AS says, is it possible for an immigrant visa case to be lost because of a mandamus lawsuit filed previously? I'm not sure what you mean by lost. Immigrant visa applications are approved or refused, issued or refused. If they're not generally lost, that's not a SEAC status. But if you're asking whether or not the State Department will retaliate against a visa applicant because they sued the State Department, the answer is no, okay? For several reasons. One, it's not lawful. There's no grounds in the Immigration and Nationality Act that say, hey, we can refuse this visa application because they filed a lawsuit. That's the first reason. Second is, if someone did decide to refuse your visa application in bad faith, saying it's another grounds when that's the real grounds, they could be personally liable under a lawsuit called Bivens in the U.S. I mean, it would be an uphill challenge, but what I'm saying is the person doing that could not only lose their job, but could be sued civilly. But the third and the most important thing is consular officers, government employees have no interest in retaliating against individual applicants or foreign nationals generally at all. Like my mother, who I love very much, worked for the government most of her life. And when it was 4 p.m., she would leave. And it was the goal of everybody that worked where she worked to be the first one out the door and not think about that place. And that's the attitude of people that work for the United States government almost across the board. They just want to go in, do the work, go home. They don't have some kind of personal vendetta like you see in Star Wars or something that they want to get back at, there's no music playing in the background. Doom, 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 doom. No, they're just people that go to work and they go home. There's nobody that is interested in retaliating against you. Okay. IS says not trackable on SEAC. I'm not sure what your question is. The SEAC is not a good SEAC status. Is not a good indicator of the status of a case. I've always thought that was kind of ironic. AS says, retaliation is what I'm thinking about. Okay, United States, that doesn't happen. I will say that I've had clients that I've represented in mandamus lawsuits that have worked for several federal agencies of the U.S. government. And I continue to consult with employees of the U.S. government, and they hire me to sue the U.S. government for mandamus cases. So if the employees of the U.S. government are not scared to sue the United States government, you shouldn't be either. Okay. And that's all the questions I have here. So I know we've only gone 25 minutes, but there's no reason for y'all to look at me if there's nothing you need me to talk about, right? So thank you for coming to episode 32. I hope you can make it to episode 33. Bring some hot questions, and we'll be ready to go. Have a good week.